Good morning, children. 10:33, only 27 are here. I don't know why others are so late. 10:30 is the time given to you, said. You are not having any other class in the morning, no. Did you had any class? No, I think, isn't it? 8:30 to 9:30 you had. Okay. Still 1 hour you are getting. After 8 to 9 I took class and I came after 10 by 10:30, isn't it? Then any more doubt regarding the previous chapter? I told you to study yesterday 2 glands. Then today 2 more glands I told you to study. Tomorrow by 2 o'clock you will have a 1-word test. Okay. Then one more thing regarding your records. Those I told you, those who have not collected the thing, you have to collect it from office today or tomorrow. I think today or tomorrow is the last date for your fees. Your board exam registration fees also I heard the same dates. So those are coming there for fees or giving the paper there, you can collect the record. Already the message was given by Shirley Miss before. So next Monday, not Monday, next Wednesday or Thursday onwards, we'll start writing the record. At that time, don't tell you don't have a record. And office will be off for coming few public holidays. Office also won't be there. You won't get the record from Monday, Tuesday and all. Onam and all comes there, isn't it? So better you collect it either today, tomorrow. That's all. By tomorrow, I think it will be, or today, I don't know correctly. Office, school office will be there only. By today, it will be closed, I think. Next, no, not today, tomorrow also you will get, Friday. So collect it soon. Now the number is 33. So I think there is no more doubt from the previous chapter, endocrine system. We have completed that chapter and exercise questions, answers. I'll give you today evening. You study the next 2 glands today. Try to do the exercise question. I want you to do the exercise question. That's why I'm not sending you the answers. If I directly give the answers, you will copy down the things in it. So I'll give you only after you have done. You have to correct it. Evening, I'll send you the answers. Then tomorrow, 1-word test I'll conduct by 2 o'clock. I think you don't have any class by 2. After 10:30 to 11:30, you will have 2 o'clock, you will have the exam, and 4 o'clock only you will have class in it. So you can write it tomorrow. Any other suggestions regarding, corrections or any doubts regarding the previous chapter, endocrine system? I'm moving to next chapter. That's why I'm asking you. I think it's clear for you. So we will start a new chapter that is about the nervous system. We have 4 more chapters. Nervous system, sense organs, reproductive system, then a bit part from population is also there, and then genetics. 4 chapters are there, quite lengthy one, and most important ones also. Okay, so be serious regarding the topics what I'm taking you. Teaching you today, and don't think that after 1 week only we will see, so we'll forget everything. No, it's not that. Important topics are coming only. Nervous system, sense organs, reproductive system, all those are the parts from where you get maximum questions. Okay, so we'll start with the nervous system. What do you mean by nervous system? Today I'll take a simple topic only which you have already studied in your lower grade. 7th grade, I think, or myself only taught you 7th grade. Right. So nervous system we have discussed there. Something we have said about the nervous system. What do you mean by nervous system? What do you mean by nervous system? So we have studied about different systems. Circulatory system, endocrine system, excretory system, all those things, isn't it? Now we are moving to nervous system. Nervous system means which include a number of nerves or main parts of our brain and spinal cord, which controls almost all the activities of our body. So that is what is included in nervous system, isn't it? We get the information, we sense certain things that is seen around us. We do all the actions what we perform is according to the sensations what we receive from our external environment. That is how we keep in contact with the our nervous system and environment, isn't it? So we get information about our outside using our nervous system by using different organs of your body. The information will be carried towards your brain and you respond according to the information what is received by your brain. That is how your nervous system is working. And all the voluntary and involuntary activities of your body, heartbeat, again, breathing, all these are the involuntary activities. Those are all controlled by different nerve fibers which get the information from your brain. So nerve fibers, brain, spinal cord, all these together constitute what you call it as nervous system. So before studying about different parts of nervous system, we should have a basic idea about the structural and functional unit of nervous system. What will be the structural and functional unit of nervous system? Neuron. That is familiar, I think, isn't it? Neuron. Neuron is considered as the structural and functional unit of nervous system. What is the structural and functional unit of excretory system? Nephrons, isn't it? So don't get confused when it is asked to about nervous system. Don't write nephrons there. Nephrons are the structural and functional unit of excretory system. Nervous system, the structural and functional unit of nervous system, that is neuron. So we can see that each neuron grouped together and it forms what you call it as nerves. Different nerve fibers join together to form what you call it as ganglion, or you can call it as the brain or spinal cord, whatever it is. Okay, so the basic unit that will be the neuron, the basic unit of nervous system or the structural and functional unit of nervous system, that is called the neuron. And we need to study about the structure of a typical neuron. Already you have studied about structure of a typical neuron in your lower grade, isn't it? Structure of typical neuron. Which are the parts of a neuron? Each human neuron, it is composed of 3 distinct parts. Which are they? Here only it is visible. Okay. So the first part, it will be the cell body region. Each neuron, it is divided into 3 important parts. The first part, it is the cell body region. Then cell body is divided into, or it branches into certain cytoplasmic projections, which you call it as dendrons. Here, this is called the dendron, and each dendron divides into small branches. It is called the dendrites. Then again, one of this branch extends down and forms what we call it as axon, and each axon, it divides into small branches, again what you call it as axonites. All these are familiar, I think you have studied in your lower classes, isn't it? So each neuron, it is divided into 3 main parts. One is the cell body region, second part is the dendron and dendrite region, and the third part will be the axon region. These are the 3 important parts of typical human neuron. Okay, so first part is about the cell body. Cell body, you know, this is the main part, cellular part of a typical neuron. And cell body, it includes the cytoplasm, and it contains a nucleus, and it contains all the cell organelles, which is the longest cell in your body. Nerve cell is the longest cell, isn't it? And you know that it is extended from one part of your body, and the nerve impulses will be carried through from different parts of your body towards the brain. From brain, again, the information is carried back to different organs. All those are familiar. So who is carrying this information? Certain nerves, and those nerves are constituted by certain neurons, and each neuron contains mainly 3 parts. First part, that is called the cell body region. Second part is the dendron or dendrite. Third part is the axon, and we'll see one by one. First part is about the cell body, and you know that cell body, it is a cellular part, or another name for cell body, that is another name for cell body, we call it as cytone region. Another name for cell body, this is cytone region. Cell body or cytone region, it have a definite nucleus. All other cell organelles will be there except centrosome. It have all cell organelles except centrosome. Why centrosome is not there in a nerve cell? What is the main role of centrosome in an animal cell? It plays an important role in cell division. So there is no centrosome in case of a nerve cell. So the nerve cell don't have the property to divide. Got it? So the nerve cells, since it don't have a centrosome inside the cytoplasm, it don't have the property of cell division also. So nerve cells, once it is lost, it is lost. The nerve fibers or nerves are not again we cannot reproduce, or the cell it won't undergo any cell division. So nerve cells, once it is lost, it is lost. Optic nerve, some damage to optic nerves happens, vision has gone. If it is damage to optic nerves, there is no chance to replace the thing. So the nerve fibers, neurons, they don't have centrosome and centromere because it doesn't play a role of cell division. Okay, so nerve cells won't have the ability to divide because they don't have a cell organelle called centrosome. That's all about the cell body part or cyton. What's another name given for cell body? Cyton. Or another name is there, that is called perikaryon. So this is the cellular part which contains cytoplasm, definite nucleus. All other cell organelles will be there except centrosome. And since centrosome is not there, nerve cell don't have the ability to divide. Then from the cell body, we can see that there are certain cytoplasmic extensions. These are the cytoplasmic extensions from the cell body region. So those cytoplasmic extensions from the cytoplasmic region, we call it as dendron. This part we call it as dendron. This part. This is called dendrons, and each dendron divides into small fine branches which you call it as dendrites. Cytoplasmic projections which extend to outside, it forms the dendrons, and each dendron divides into small branches which you call it as dendrites. That is the second part. And what will be the main function of dendrites? It is this dendrite that receives information from different parts of your body. It is carried towards this cyton region, it is carried towards axon, and from the axon it is carried to next neuron. Suppose I am pricking you with a needle on your hand. Which part of that neuron receives the impulse? Dendrites part. Okay, dendrite, it receives the impulse. It will carry the impulse through dendron. It carry it to cell body, and from cell body it is carried through the axon, and through the axon endings it is carried to next neuron. Like that, the information is carried from one neuron to other neuron towards the brain, and brain got information. Someone is pricking you with a needle, you take out your hand. Okay, I took my hand back. Got it? So the information is received in which part of neuron? Dendrite region of neuron. Clear? So cytoplasmic projection from cyton region, that is called dendron. Dendron again divides into fine branches which you call it as dendrites. Then it is in the dendrite region you receive the information. Then one of this dendron or one of the cytoplasmic extension extend down and forms a long narrow tube which you call it as axon. This is called the axon region. One of the cytoplasmic extension extend down and form a structure what you call it as axon. The remaining part I have drawn here. Okay, since you can't see, I think you can see only. Okay, so each axon it divides into axonites. If I write there also you won't be. So okay, this part. Axon endings. Each axon it divides to small branches which you call it as axonites. Okay, axon it divides into axonites, and you can see that each axon will be surrounded by an insulating sheath which you call it as myelin sheath. I think all these terms are familiar for you. That's why I'm moving very fastly. Okay, not for the first time you are hearing it. Isn't it? Cell body or cyton, dendron and dendrite, and axon is familiar for you. Then each axon it is surrounded by a insulating sheath which you call it as myelin sheath, which prevent mixing up of information between two neurons. Suppose if two neurons or five neurons are kept together to form a nerve fiber, you can see that there is no mixing up of information between these neurons. It happens because of the presence of this insulating sheath which you call it as myelin sheath, a white sheath which surrounds the axon, an insulating sheath which surrounds the axon part of neuron, that is called myelin sheath. And surrounding this myelin sheath, there is one more layer which you call it as neurolemma. One more layer will be there which you call it as neurolemma. One more covering will be there for myelin sheath which you call it as neurolemma. Okay, then again you can see there are some gap here in between this myelin sheath. You can see a gap here where this part is not surrounded by myelin sheath. This region where myelin sheath is absent, that particular region you call it as node of Ranvier or nodes of Ranvier. Did you get it? So this is the covering of axon, which you call it as myelin sheath, and there is a gap here in between where we don't have myelin sheath, and this region, this part you call it as node of Ranvier. And a thin layer which surround this myelin sheath. Surrounding this myelin sheath, there will be a single layer, one more layer will be there surrounding the myelin sheath. That layer you call it as neurolemma. Got something about axon. One of the cytoplasmic extension will be quite bigger, and that bigger one you call it as axon, and axon will be surrounded by an insulating sheath. That insulating sheath you call it as myelin sheath. White colored part what I have drawn here. This is called myelin sheath. Surrounding the myelin sheath there is one more layer which you call it as neurolemma, and in between this myelin sheath there are certain gap where there is no myelin sheath present. That particular region you call it as nodes of Ranvier. So how the nerve impulses are moving very fastly. I'm pricking you here with a needle. By the time it's you get the information in brain, isn't it? So how the information is passed very fastly because the nerve impulses are traveled along this axon through this nodes of Ranvier. That means it jumps from this node of Ranvier to this node of Ranvier. From there here, like that, it jump and go through this axon, not in a straight way. It jumps through this nodes of Ranvier and go very fastly, jumping and going very fastly from one neuron to next neuron. Clear about axon. So one of the cytoplasmic extension, it extends to form what you call it as axon. Axon is surrounded by an insulating sheath called myelin sheath. Myelin sheath is again surrounded by a layer which you call it as neurolemma. In between there are certain space where you don't have myelin sheath. That part you call it as nodes of Ranvier, and it is through this nodes of Ranvier the impulses are carried very fastly through a typical axon. Then what will be the end of this axon? The end part of axon is again divided, or it is branched to form small branches which you call it as axonites. Axon divides to form axonites. And at the end region of this axonite, you can see that this part is slightly swollen. I'll tell you what it is and for what it is. And it is slightly swollen. At the tip part of axonite, it is slightly blurred, or it has got a blunted end. Okay, so that is about the structure of typical axon and axonites. Just take the structure of neuron. You will be given the diagram or will be asked to draw the diagram and explain the structure. Not as complete 5 mark question. Questions based on the diagram will be asked, or you will be asked to draw also and label the parts. Okay. So what all things we have discussed now? Need of nervous system. Why we need our nervous system? To get information from outside, to think, to reason. What all things we do? All those things are the outcomes. What comes from your brain. Then control and control your muscular activity. Again, your involuntary activities of your body are controlled with the help of nervous system. All those things are given as introduction there. Then now about the neurons. We are in this chapter, we are going to study about different parts of nervous system. And so before studying about the different parts of nervous system, you should have an idea about the structural and functional unit of nervous system, that is about the neuron. So first part, we'll study about the structure of neuron. So there are 3 main parts for a neuron underlying: cell, body, dendrites, and axon. What's another name for cell body? Another name given for cell body. That is perikaryon or cyton, and you can see that it has got a well-defined nucleus and a cytoplasm will be there. All cell organelles will be there except centrosome. Underline that. Every cell organelles will be there except centrosome because nerve cell lost the ability to divide. It don't have a centrosome, so they don't have the ability to divide. So name a cell in human body which don't have the ability to divide. Nerve cell. Nerve cells won't divide because it don't have a centrosome. Clear? Yes. Then comes the second part, that is about the dendrite. Some of the cytoplasmic projections from here, it forms a dendron which extends from the cell body. It forms dendron. Dendron again divides into small branches which you call it as dendrites. Now the third part, that is called the axon. It's a long process which extends from the cell body, and you can see that it varies and it is surrounded by a white insulating sheath which you call it as myelin sheath. Myelin sheath. Again, the myelin sheath is covered by a thin membrane to its outside, that is called the neurolemma. You can see the diagram in your textbook also. You can see the axon will be there. Surrounding the axon, you can see a myelin sheath, insulating sheath called myelin sheath. Surrounding the myelin sheath, you will have a next layer which is called neurolemma. Neurilemma, not R-O-R-I. Neurilemma. Neurilemma. Okay. Then myelin sheath shows some gap in between, and that gap you call it as nodes of Ranvier. Diagram also you can see. Nodes of Ranvier, did you see? In between the myelin sheath, you can see there is a gap where there is no myelin sheath, and that node you call it as nodes of Ranvier. Okay. Then in some neurons, you can see that some neurons may have one more branch here, one more axon will be there, one more neurons will be present over here. Such ones you call it as collaterals. No need of those terms. Collaterals, maybe it will be present in some neurons. Okay, and the end part of axon, you can see that it is axon endings. It is called axonites. It is not mentioned in your diagram. Write down if you want there. Axon, it ends in axonites, and each axonite has got a blunted end that is given. The end portion of axon have a swollen bulb-like structures from which the neurotransmitters are given, that I will tell you. So this is the end part which has got a swollen region from where the neurotransmitters will be given, that I'll tell you. So that's all about a typical neuron. I'll show you a picture of neuron here, then it will be more clear. Simple structure only. You know the thing, isn't it? This part, this is the cell body region with a definite nucleus and cytoplasmic region. Then from the cell body, the cytoplasmic region extend and form what you call it as dendron here. And this part you call fine branches, you call it as dendrites. Again, you can see one of the cytoplasmic extensions, it extend down as a long one, which you call it as axon. Each axon will be surrounded by a sheath, which you call it as myelin sheath. And this myelin sheath is again surrounded by a layer, which you call it as neurolemma. And in between this myelin sheath, you can see there are certain gaps where it is not filled with myelin sheath. This gap you call it as nodes of Ranvier. And axon, it divides to form endings which you call it as axon endings or axon terminals. And it will be bulged or it will be blunted here from where the neurotransmitters are given, that we will see. So this is the end part of axon or axonites. Clear about the structure of a typical neuron? Okay, come back. Then now coming to what do you mean by synapse, or how the information is carried from one neuron to next neuron. Okay, so I told you if I am pricking you with a needle, the information will be received by a dendrites, and from the dendrite, information will be carried to the cell body. Through cell body, it reaches towards the axon, and through the nodes of Ranvier, it will jump and reach towards this end part of axon, and the information will reach through the axonite towards this bulged region. And this bulged region of axonite, it contains certain chemical substance which you call it as neurotransmitters. The end part of each axonite contains a chemical substance which you call it as neurotransmitter. Neurotransmitter. And one example for neurotransmitter, that is acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is an example for a neurotransmitter. What do you mean by neurotransmitter? Certain chemical substance which helps transmission of nerve impulse. Then at the end of this axonites, we can see that from here starts the next neuron. Next neuron starts from the end of this axonites. So suppose this is the next neuron. Which part of neuron will be there here? The axonite part. Suppose this is the next neuron. This will be the axon of next neuron, and this will be the cell body part of next neuron. So the next neurons, dendrites will be there here. So the dendrites of next neurons will be there here. This is the dendrites part of next neuron. This is the cytoplasmic region. You will have the nucleus and all here. This is the axon region. So this is the next neuron. So what we need, the information has reached from the axon of one neuron. It has gone through axonite. It reached towards this end part of this particular neuron. From here, we can see that the bulge region of one neuron, it starts producing a chemical substance which you call it as neurotransmitter or acetylcholine. And it starts secreting these chemical substance, and through this chemical substance, the information will be carried towards the dendrites of next neuron. From the axonites of one neuron, the information will be carried to the dendrites of next neuron. That movement, that is how the nerve impulses are carried from one neuron to next neuron. This is first neuron. From here it is transferred to next neuron. So it is carried through these chemical messengers at a region which you call it as synaptic cleft. What do you mean by synaptic cleft? Cleft means a gap. So the gap seen between the axonites of one neuron and the dendrites of next neuron, this gap you call it as synaptic cleft. The gap between the axonites of one neuron and the dendrites of next neuron, where exchange of nerve impulse takes place. That region you call it as synaptic cleft. And there is another term which you call it as synapse. What do you mean by synapse? Synapse means the point of contact between the axonites of one neuron and the dendrites of next neuron. The gap between these two you call it as synaptic cleft. It is through the synaptic cleft the information will be passed from one neuron to next neuron. So information will be transferred through this acetylcholine, which is acting as a neurotransmitter. So information will be passed from one neuron to next neuron. And the space seen between these, between the axonites of one neuron and dendrites of another neuron, you call it as synaptic cleft. And the point of contact between these two, that is axonites of one neuron and dendrites of another neuron. The point of contact between these two, you call it as synapse. One more question. What do you mean by synapse? What is synaptic cleft? Point of contact between axonites of one neuron and dendrites of another neuron, you call it as synapse. And the space seen between the axonites of one neuron and the dendrites of another neuron, you call it a synaptic cleft. And in between this, you can see that the axonites of one neuron, it starts secreting certain chemical substance called neurotransmitter, which helps in passing of information from one neuron to next neuron. That chemical substance, you call it as neurotransmitter. So in case of humans, acetylcholine, that is an example for a neurotransmitter which helps in transmitting information from one neuron to next neuron. Is it clear? Is it clear? So the end portion of axon, page 124, I am reading. The end portion of axon have a swollen end-like bulbs which store certain chemicals called neurotransmitters. So it is in this bulged region of axonites or axon endings, there is a chemical substance called neurotransmitter. Then axon terminals are closely placed near the dendrites of another neuron and are not connected, and they are not attached to each other. Okay, they are not connected, but there is a small gap here in between, and that gap you call the synaptic cleft. Got it? Axon terminals are closely placed near the dendrites of another neuron, one or more neuron, but are not connected. Such gap between is called synaptic cleft. So they are not touching each other. They are seen very closely, and the free space here in between, you call it a synaptic cleft. Cleft means a free space. So that is called synaptic cleft. Then what is synapse? Synapse is the point of contact between the terminal branches of axonites of one neuron and the dendrites of next neuron, which are separated by a fine gap. That is a synaptic cleft. So the point of contact between the axonites of one neuron and dendrites of another neuron, which are separated by a small gap, we call it as synapse. One more question. Define. Got it? What is synapse? Synapse is a point of contact between the terminal branches of axon of one neuron with the dendrites of another neuron separated by a small gap, and that gap you call it as synaptic cleft. They are not connected like this. They are not connected like this. They comes like this only. Axons of one neuron, dendrites of another neuron. They come very closely, and the free space between this, that is called synaptic cleft. And this phenomenon of coming in contact between the axons of one neuron and dendrites of another neuron, you call it as synapse. And connecting this, the information is carried from one axonites to the next dendrite through this neurotransmitter. And acetylcholine is an example for a neurotransmitter. Clear? Yes. So next line you can see there is at a synapse, the nerve impulse jumps to the next neuron. This is a chemical process. As the impulse reaches the terminal end of an axon, a chemical called, underline that word, acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is released. This chemical set a new impulse in the dendrites of next neuron. This chemical is soon broken down by an enzyme to make the synapse ready for next transmission. So that is how the nerve impulse is carried. Did you get an idea about neuron? What is synapse? What is synaptic cleft? What is neurotransmitter? What is acetylcholine and all? So we have seen about the structure of a typical neuron. Neuron has got three important parts. The first part is the cell body of perikaryon region. It contains the cytoplasm and the nucleus. Again, all cell organelles are present in the nuclear region except centrosome. So that is the reason why nerve cells don't have the ability to divide. Okay, then second region, that is about the cytoplasmic extension from the cell body, which you call it as dendron and dendrites. It is in this dendrite region you receive the impulse from outside. Suppose you are touching a hot object, impulse will be received in the dendrite region. And from the dendrite, the information will be carried towards the cell body. From the cell body, it will be carried through axon. And when you come to axon, you can see axon will be covered by an insulating sheath, which you call it as myelin sheath. Surrounding the myelin sheath, we have a layer which you call it as neurolemma. In between, there are certain regions which don't have myelin sheath, which you call it as node of Ranvier. And impulse jumps through the node of Ranvier and go. Then the tipmost part of axon, you can see that it is again branched to form a structure which you call it as axonites. Axon divides to form axonites, and the end part of axonite, you can see that it is slightly swollen to form a bulb-like structure from which certain chemicals are given through which nerve impulse transmission will take place. And those chemical substances given out from this end part of axon is called neurotransmitter. And it's a chemical substance only. Example for a neurotransmitter is acetylcholine. So the chemical impulse which reaches the tipmost part of axonites of one neuron will be transferred to the dendrites of next neuron, and that phenomenon you call it as synapse. Synapse is the point of contact between the axonites of one neuron and dendrites of another neuron separated by a gap. and that gap you call it as synaptic cleft. Cleft means free space, gap. So that gap seen between the axonites of one neuron and dendrites of another neuron is called synaptic cleft. Got these terms? Now, next is about the type of neurons. We have to study about type of neurons and types of nerves. Yes. 1 minute. Let me. Ashwin. Transmission of nerve impulse I will take. In between, I have just avoided a small paragraph. Transmission of nerve impulse that I will tell you. To get the connection here, I just moved to synapse. Otherwise, you will lose that connection in between. That is needed. Okay, transmission of nerve impulse I will tell you later. Then, so I think this part is clear. What are the different parts of a typical neuron? What is synapse? What is synaptic cleft? What are neurotransmitter chemicals which are used to transmit information from one neuron to next neuron? Example for a neurotransmitter. Synapse, synaptic cleft, all those things are clear. Now we'll move to different types of neuron. What are the different types of neurons? Simple things are it. Type of neurons. What do you mean by type of neurons? 3 types of neurons we have in our body. The first one is sensory neuron. What do you mean by sensory neuron? Those neurons associated with carrying of sensory information. So which carry information from your sense organs towards your brain or spinal cord. That is what you call it as sensory neuron. Okay, which carry information from your sense organs towards your brain. That type of neuron you call it a sensory neuron. Suppose you are touching a hot object, always pricking is not good. Isn't it? You are touching a hot object, what happens? That information is carried by sensory nerves towards your brain. Or sensory neuron receives the impulse and it carries the information towards your brain. That is sensory neuron. Then second type. So sensory neuron carries the information towards your brain or spinal cord. Then second type, that is about the motor neuron. Your brain got the information. You have touched a hot object. You should take your hand back. Isn't it? So the information from your brain is carried back to your sense organ by a neuron, which you call it as motor neuron. Information is carried from brain and spinal cord towards the sensory organ or towards the effector organ. Effector region, that one we call it as motor neuron. The one which carry information towards your brain, sensory neuron. The one which carry information back from brain towards your target organ, that is called the motor neuron. Then connecting these two you have, that is sensory neuron brought information towards the brain. From brain, the information you got back through your motor neuron, and connecting these two, you have third type of neuron, which you call it as association neuron. Seen in brain as well as in spinal cord, the third type of neuron, that is called association neuron. Got it? Sensory neuron carry information from your sense organs towards your brain. Motor neuron carry information from your brain and spinal cord back to your organs, and there is an association neuron connecting the brain and spinal cord, connecting your sensory nerve and motor nerve. In brain and spinal cord you have another neuron which you call it as association neuron. Got it? See the diagram in figure 10.3. First is sensory neuron. Which part of a neuron will receive the impulse? Dendrite, isn't it? Dendrite receive the impulse. From that impulse, it is carried towards your brain. And it reached, or one neuron is shown there. And the information from your brain is again received back by a motor neuron towards the muscles or gland from where you need it. So that is the motor neuron. Second one is connecting this third one is connecting this motor neuron and sensory neuron in your brain and spinal cord. You have another neuron which you call it as association neuron. These are the three types of neurons seen in humans. Which are the three types of neurons seen in human? Sensory neuron, motor neuron, association neuron. Sensory neuron carry information from sense organs towards your brain. Motor neuron carry information from brain and spinal cord to different parts of your body. Association neuron is connecting, associating, combine associating both sensory and motor neuron. You have the association neuron. Clear? Just mark it. Types of neuron. Sensory neuron convey the information or impulses from sense organs or the receptor organs to the nervous system, brain or spinal cord. Motor neuron carry information from nervous system to the effector organ or to the different parts of your body. Association neuron located in your brain and spinal cord connect the sensory nerve neurons and motor neurons. Got it. So that is the structural and functional unit. Neurons are of three types: sensory, motor, and association. Now coming to nerve. What do you mean by nerve? Slight difference is there between neuron and nerve. Isn't it? Neuron means that is the basic structure. Several such neurons join together to form what you call it as a typical nerve fiber. Just like a broom. Think about a broom. You have long broomsticks there, isn't it? So each broomstick over there represent a typical neuron. Several such broomsticks forms a broom, isn't it? So those broomsticks are the neurons, and when it is combined together as a broom, that one you call it as a nerve fiber, or you call it as nerves, or just like the cable wires. How is the cable wires? Inside that you have telephone cable or the other cable wires. You can see different small wires will be there with the different colors also. In some type of cable you see different colors also. Two will be yellow, two will be red, like that. Different color cables you will see, and everything will be wrapped together with that black one. So that is how a neuron appears. Neuron will, here one neuron will be there which has got a myelin sheath. Next neuron will be there again which has got a myelin sheath. So next neuron will be there with a myelin sheath, and all these together you call it as a typical nerve fiber. Several such neurons which are covered with insulated myelin sheath. So there is no mixing up of impulses also here. So this neurons together constitute what you call it as a typical nerve. Okay, so definition for nerve. Nerve is a bundle of nerve fibers or axons of separate neuron enclosed in a tubular sheath. This part is the axon part. Here you may have the dendrite part, all those things. Okay, so many axons of many neurons are grouped together and it is surrounded by a sheath which you call it as a nerve fiber. Axons of many neurons are joined together and surrounded by a sheath which you call it as nerve fiber. Clear? Nerve is a bundle of nerve fibers or axons of separate neurons. Many neurons joined together to form a single nerve. Okay. So nerves are something which arise from your brain and spinal cord, and we have different types of nerves and we gave different names for different nerves also. Can you give me one example for a typical nerve which is familiar for you? Any nerve which is familiar for you? Optic nerve. What is optic nerve? A nerve which carry information from your eye towards your brain. That is called the optic nerve. Then, what is a nerve which carry information from your ear towards your brain? Auditory nerve. Optic nerve, auditory nerve. Like that, we have different nerves. That means it contains a group of neurons carrying information from that particular organ towards your brain, or from brain to different parts of your body. Like that, it comes. Okay. So that's all about the nerves. Nerves are thread-like white structures which emerge from brain and spinal cord, and it branches to different parts of your body. It's just like your electric cable. So and so is written there that you can read. Now we have three types of nerves in our body. Which are the three types of nerves? Same way what we have told. The other one was three types of neuron. Okay, sensory neuron, motor neuron, associated neuron. Sensory neuron carry information from different parts of your body towards the brain. Motor neuron carry information from brain to different parts of your body. Association neuron connect these two, sensory and motor neuron. Now, based on the functions, we can see there are three types of nerves in humans. That is sensory nerves, motor nerves, and mixed nerves. Based on its function, we can see that there are three types of nerves. Based on the function, there are three types of nerves. First one is called sensory nerve. Sensory nerve carry information from different sense organs of your body towards the brain. Same like other one. Okay. Second, can you give me some example for sensory nerves? Optic nerve. Optic means something related with the eye. Optic nerve carry information from your eye towards your brain. Auditory nerve. Auditory. What is auditory? Next chapter you study all these. Auditory nerve, which carry information from your ear towards the brain. So such nerves which carry information from any of your sense organs towards the brain, you call it as sensory nerve. Clear? Then second one is motor nerve. Motor nerve carry information from brain to different parts of your body. Same like other one, motor neuron, what we have told. Motor nerves carry information from brain to different parts of your body. Brain or spinal cord. Okay, brain or spinal cord to different parts of your body. Example for a motor nerve, that is a nerve which carry information from brain to different muscles of your body, facial muscles or any other muscles of your body. Suppose if you touch a hot object, sensory nerve carry the information from your hand towards your brain, and motor nerve will carry the information back to the muscles of your hand. You take out the hand from there. So this muscle get the information, you pull the hand back. Got it? So motor nerve, it carry information from brain or spinal cord towards different glands or different muscles of your body. Then third example is a nerve arising from our brain and supplying to the muscles of eyeball for rotating the eye. Suppose if someone is calling you, I'm calling your name here. Whom I will call? Antonio, I will call. Isn't it? So I'm calling from here, Antonio. What happened? Antonio's auditory nerve started working, and that auditory nerve, that is a sensory nerve, gave information to brain. Yes, Snowimus is calling. So what happened? His motor nerve gave the information to his eye. Yes, look properly into the mobile. She is seeing you are distracted here and there. So who gave the information to Antonio? Motor nerves gave information from his brain to his eyeball. Someone is calling you, you move the muscles of your eyeballs to that side. Motor nerve gives the information. Auditory, when someone is calling you, auditory nerve gave the information towards your brain and you heard the sound and you look to that side by the information given by the motor nerves towards the muscles of your eye. You are looking to that side. Clear about what is motor nerve, what is sensory nerve? Sensory nerves are the nerves which carry information from sense organs towards your brain. Example, optic nerve and auditory nerve are some examples. Motor nerve carry information from brain and spinal cord towards the target organ. Maybe to the muscles of your eyes, muscles of your body, or to some glands of your body. Okay. Now, third type of nerve, it's not association, it's third type which you call it as mixed nerve. That means these are type of nerve which can carry information from different parts of your body towards the brain and also from brain to different parts of your body. That means it can do the function of both sensory and motor nerve fibers. Such type of nerves you call it as mixed nerve. Example is vagus nerve or spinal nerves. The nerves which arise from the spinal cord. Spinal nerves are both sensory as well as motor in function. So we call it as mixed nerve. One example minimum you have to study. Or another example is vagus nerve. Again example for a mixed nerve. Clear? So sensory nerve carry information from sense organs to different parts of your body. Motor nerve carry information from brain to different parts of your body, maybe muscles or glands of your body. Mixed nerve does the function of both sensory and motor nerve. It can carry information from different parts of your body to brain or from brain to different parts of your body. So the spinal nerve or vagus nerves are all examples for mixed nerve. Clear? We'll just read that. Sensory nerve contain only sensory nerve fibers bringing impulses from sense organs to brain and spinal cord. Example, you can mark optic nerve, auditory nerve, another example. Motor nerve contain only motor nerve fibers which carry information from brain or spinal cord to the effector organs, maybe muscles or glands of your body. Then mixed nerve are those which contain both sensory nerve fibers and motor nerve fibers. Then we call it as mixed nerve. Example, spinal nerves. Now, what do you mean by ganglia? Just for your information. What is ganglia? Different nerve fibers from different sources joined together and forms a group of nerves, which you call it as ganglia. From here again, there may be some nerve fibers arising. So the part where many nerve fibers join together, you call it as ganglia. Aggregation of cell bodies of different neurons in a particular place, you call it as ganglia. Aggregation of nerve fibers. Here we have a nerve fiber, cell body of one nerve fiber. Here the cell body of another nerve fiber, cell body of another. So this group of cell bodies of many nerve fibers, you call it as what? Ganglia. Clear? So what are things we have seen now? First we have seen what is the structural and functional unit of nervous system, that is about the neuron. We have seen the structure of neuron, three important parts of neuron: axon, dendron, dendrites, and cell body. And axon, myelin sheath, neurolemma, axon, axonites we have seen. What is synapse? What is synaptic cleft? What are neurotransmitter? Example for a neurotransmitter. Then we have seen what is which are the three types of neurons: sensory neurons, motor neurons, association neurons. Based on function, there are three types of nerve fibers. There is sensory nerve fiber, or sensory nerves, motor nerves, and mixed nerves. Examples for sensory, motor, and mixed also should be familiar. Clear? Now one more small topic, that is about transmission of nerve impulse. Not so important. No questions I have seen from there, but still for your information I should give it. Send it. How the nerve impulses are carried. Three terms you have to keep in mind, that's all. Suppose if a nerve impulse is to be carried through a typical neuron, we can see that the outermost part and the movement of nerve fibers or movement of impulses along a nerve fiber occur due to a functioning of sodium potassium pump. That means sodium ion is taken inside, potassium ion is taken outside. That is how the impulse will be carried. The chemical nature, how the things are carried through a nerve fiber occurs like this. So if a nerve fiber is in a resting stage, now this is in a resting stage. Okay, so if it is in a resting stage, the outermost part of a typical nerve fiber will be positively charged and inner side will be negatively charged. And this resting stage, we call that the nerve fiber is polarized. Polarized. If it is resting, we can see that the outer part of a typical nerve fiber will be positive because of presence of sodium ions here. Na plus ions will be seen outside. So the outer part will be positive, inner part will be negative. And this resting stage of a nerve fiber, you call it as polarized stage. This is how your nerve fiber is resting. And I'm going to prick you with the needle. So what will happen? Which part will receive the impulse? Which part receive? Dendrite. Dendrite part, when it receives the impulse, what happens? The sodium potassium pump start working. What happens to the sodium? Sodium ions start moving inside. So what will happen? The inside part become positive and the outside part become negative. I have pricked you here with a needle. So the sodium ions have gone inside and the potassium ions came outside. So the charge here got positive part came inside and negative part came outside. And this condition of the remaining part is like this only. It is coming to that side only. Sorry. The remaining part is like this. It started moving only. Okay, when it start moving, the positive part moves inside, negative part comes outside. And this state, that means you are receiving the impulse. I have pricked you with a needle, you receive the impulse. That state you call it as excited stage, or we can say that it become polarized, depolarized. This is polarized, so it became depolarized. Excited, excited, or we tell that it became depolarized. Depolarized. Polarization has gone. It became depolarized. Clear? I'm pricking here with the needle. So you got the impulse. When you receive the impulse, the sodium ion will get inside. So the charge got changed from negative to positive inside, and the negative charge became outside. So that sodium potassium pump started working. And this part, now this part we call it became excited. This part is normal itself. So this part now got excited, or we call that it is depolarized. Now, what happens? The impulse is starting to move from here, isn't it? So what happens? Inside part becomes positive and the outside part again becomes negative. So it is continuing. So by the time the impulse has moved from here to the next part, by the time what will happen? By the time the next part, this previous part, what is seen here, when the impulse has gone from here to the next part, this part again regains its original state, that is positive ions are seen towards outside, negative ions are seen towards inside. That means it became repolarized. What happened here? It became repolarized. Repolarized. So when it is in, so it came back to resting stage, isn't it? Now positive ions are seen towards outside, negative ions are seen towards inside. So it became normal stage. That means it became recovered. It recovered, and that condition you call it as repolarized. Got it? First, when it is in a resting stage, we call that it is in a polarized stage or resting stage. At that time, positive ions are seen outside, negative towards inside. When I prick you with a needle, sodium ions moves inside, potassium moves outside, and it becomes excited. That is, when I'm pricking here with needle, it became excited. That region became excited, which you call it as, it became depolarized. That polarized nature has gone. Now it became depolarized. Then, when the impulse started moving from one end to the other end, the previous end, what happened to the previous end? It come back to resting stage itself. That means it became repolarized. Again, means what? Redo. Do it again, isn't it? So it became repolarized. Again, it became polarized. So initially it was in a polarized stage, then it became depolarized, and then it come back to repolarized stage. This is how the impulse carried from one region of neuron to next region. Got it? Agna Rose want to tell me something? No. Okay, so transmission of nerve impulse, I'll just read for you and try to understand. In the normal resting condition, the outer side of nerve fiber carries a positive charge. This is called polarized stage. Okay, this polarization is due to more sodium ions outside the axon membrane. This is due to more amount of sodium ions. On stimulation, that means any stimulus is received. You are touching a hot object or you saw something different. So any stimulation, mechanical, electrical, chemical or heat, any stimulation, the axon membrane at that spot become more permeable to sodium ions which move inside and cause loss of polarization. Sodium ions will start moving inside and this polarized stage is lost. This condition we can tell that it is depolarized. This is called depolarized, and the state you call it as excited. First it was resting, now it became excited, or we call that it was in a polarized stage, now it became depolarized. Okay. Then the point of depolarization becomes a stimulus for the next neighboring area of the membrane, which in turn become depolarized. So next region, it becomes depolarized one by one. Meanwhile, the previous area, when this next region becomes depolarized, by the time the previous area, what happens to the previous area? Previous area become repolarized due to the active transport of sodium ions again back to outside and potassium ion inside. This transport is achieved by what we call it as sodium pump using energy from ATP. By using the energy of ATP, sodium is moving inside, then again coming back to outside. So what are the stages here? If it is resting stage, we call it as polarized. If it is excited, we call it as depolarized. Again coming back to normal stage, we call it as repolarized. The order will be polarized, depolarized and repolarized. That's the only thing you have to keep in mind. And diagram also you can see. A is completely yellow in color. That is the resting stage. B, that orange colored part, that means it got excited. It became depolarized. And in diagram C, that has moved from one region to next region. So the previous part became again yellow. That means it became repolarized. So what is the order there? Polarized, depolarized, repolarized. That is what you have to keep in mind. Only those three terms you have to keep in mind. Resting stage, we call it as polarized. Excited stage, we call it as depolarized. It became depolarized. Polarization has gone, depolarized. Again, it came back to resting position. So we call it as repolarized. Again, it became polarized. Okay, it was polarized, then polarization has gone, depolarization, then again polarization came. So repolarized. Got it. So those three terms you have to keep in mind. Resting stage, excited stage, again resting stage. Polarized stage, depolarized stage, repolarized stage. Clear? So do not compare the conduction of nerve impulse in a nerve fiber with the flow of electricity through an electric wire. In the later, the electron actually do not move along the wire where neither any substance nor any electrons or ions. That is up to you. Read it, that's all. So what I want there is these three terms. When it is in a resting stage, you call it as polarized. When it is excited, you call it as depolarized. When it again regain the resting state, you call it as repolarized. Those three terms you have to keep in mind. Order of nerve transmission. Sometimes arrange it in correct order will be asked. Polarized, depolarized, repolarized. I think it's clear. So that's all enough for the day, I think. So we have seen the structure of neuron, about different nerves, different types of neurons, and how the nerve impulse is transmitted. Next day, we will see about different parts of nervous system, central nervous system. We'll come to the content next day only. This is just an introduction part and which you have already studied, content what you have already studied. So I think it's clear for you. So study the other two glands today. Read this part minimum once. Otherwise, next week when I ask you about neuron, nerves and all, you people will be blank. So read it once. The other part, glands, you study it today and tomorrow get ready for one word test paper. Okay. So hope you all will stay safe at home. And there is no more class for me before Onam. So happy Onam to all. So we'll see after on. Okay, thank you.